So let's get started. College 101 resources. Y'all, there is so much out there. There is no way that one presentation could ever go over everything that is available. Really, it's just about awareness today and making sure that you know that there is something for everyone, okay? First, I want to get some kind of feelers out there. I want to know what resources you think you can have access to on a college campus. And the way I want you to tell me is through the chat. So tell me what kind of resources you think or what kind of help you think you can get on a college campus. Go. And I'll read them out and we'll kind of chat about them before we jump into this. Put it in the chat. Here we go. Okay. Counselors, yes, that is an excellent one. Absolutely. Help with choosing courses, yes. Anybody else have any ideas? And it's okay if you're like, I have no idea, because that's why you're here. And that's what we're going to chat about today. So, we're going to talk about four general topics. One, money for college, super important. Two, academic support. Yes, yes, yes. Basic needs and building community. Those are our topics of today. So we're going to first dive in money for college. I'm going to start with this. Money for college has been and will continue to be its own Friday focus because this topic is huge and there are so many details and timelines. And I will tell you that we have had someone from Cash for College, a financial aid expert, already join us this school year to tell us all things about financial aid. And so if some of these things don't make sense just yet, because we're going to kind of go over them quickly because we've really talked about financial aid quite a bit this year so far. And so just a reminder, financial aid, so your FAFSA or CADA is your first stop shop for financial aid when you are ready to apply to a community college or a four-year university. Everything we talk about will be accessible at the community college level as well as a four-year university level. College-specific scholarships, most colleges will offer their own scholarship for specific students. And so always make sure to tap into that as well. Local scholarships. I mean, these are great because the population of who's applying for these scholarships will be the local people within that resident area. And so always look there too. Your counselors and high school team have poured a ton of energy and have made things accessible to you through the bridge. And so I want to show that to you because this is accessible to you today, right now. Okay. Going Merry is actually one of our most recent integrations into our counseling program. It is very intuitive to where you'll have your own account. Your counselors can support you as they see you on their account. You'll show up on our account there. So we'll be able to see if you need any documents uploaded on our end, whether it's transcripts. So it's very integrated and very, I'd say, efficient because we're all going to see kind of what you're working on. And so we'll come back to Going Merry though. Here are the most vetted, I'll say, search engines available to you now, listed here in the bridge that you have access to. There are several here. These are all wonderful resources. You're going to find tips on how to make you competitive. But when thinking about scholarships and applying, there's so many different facets of you as a student in general. There's going to be demographics. Are you working your parents' job, right? Ask what are your aspirations? Do you have military background in your family? Or when you go to college, will you be a veteran? There's also resources and special scholarships there. Also, your skills and hobbies are something else that you want to consider when applying to scholarships. In addition to scholarships, we've got some pretty popular scholarship links here for you. Y'all, there is so many here. If you haven't gone onto the bridge to see the scholarship website, I heavily encourage you to. I want to highlight the Sacramento Region Community Foundation Scholarship. So once you click on them, you get a ton of information. And so there are steps here, but it'll also take you to the link. Let's see. Here we go. So scholarships for students at the very bottom, there's going to be a ton of them listed. And you can kind of go through them. And this is for Sacramento County only. So you'll see some schools highlighted there. But just know that all of this is available to you on the bridge. So use it because we're pouring some energy into it to make sure that you have everything you need at your fingertips, okay? What do you think we're going to do next? We're going to sign up with Going Merry. Surprise, surprise. As I mentioned, we are going to come back to this. Um, I just want to show you kind of, I'll share the link in a minute, but first I'm going to show you the step by step on what we're going to do. First, we're going to see how much you're eligible for. You don't have to sign up for this, but I at least want you to see what's available to you, how many scholarships, and how much money you're leaving on the table if you don't sign up, okay? So you're going to go see how much you're eligible for, no sign up required. So it's going to ask you, what education level are you currently in? Well, we're in high school, so we're going to continue. When will you graduate? I'm going to say I'm going to graduate not this school year, next school year. What's my GPA? I'm going to say my GPA is a 3.6. If you don't know, that's fine. It's okay to guess roughly where your GPA is. We'll continue. It's going to ask you what school you're attending. All of our schools are already listed here. So you're just going to put in, say if you're from Clarksville, so Clarksville Charter, Lakeview, as well as Feather River are already listed in there. So it'll auto-populate for you. I am located in Fair Oaks. So what it's doing, it's gathering specific data from me to then auto-populate a list of scholarships that I might be interested in, but especially I'm eligible for. So what degree am I pursuing? If I'm going to a community college, I'm going to be pursuing an associate's degree. If I'm going to a university, I'm going to be pursuing a bachelor's degree. So I'm going to say bachelor's degree. And then I'm going to say I'm full-time. Half-time, so if depending on your plan, if you're planning to go full-time, then you click full-time. If you're planning to go part-time, then you'll select half-time. And then what majors am I interested in? I'm going to select history, but everything will auto-populate for you automatically based on what you're interested in. And then y'all, let's see how much I'm being matched to. So it says I have been matched to 441 scholarships. Isn't that wild? How much money am I eligible for? This is bananas. Incredible. Like, wow, right? I bet you didn't think that big number was going to be there. I didn't either. I'm going to give you a moment. Mary, we'll hit pause on the record button so we can all work through it together. Um, and then all right. Thanks everyone for your cooperation. I mean, everyone qualified for something, and one student almost close to $3 million worth of scholarships potentially. That is incredible. Feel free to sign up if you have any questions. You can always reach out to us and we'd be happy to help you get signed up. Our next topic is academic supports. Some of you mentioned, help with career paths, access to counselors. Yes, yes, yes. All of those things are incredible and great to tap into once you're on campus, or even as dual enrollment, even you'll have access to those as well. So where can you get academic help? Tutoring centers. Now they have support online and in person, so you can kind of make it work for you. They offer one-on-one support as well as kind of in a group setting. Oftentimes, you can walk into a tutoring center and someone will be there and they can help you. This is a wonderful resource as if you're on campus or virtual. The Writing Center. The Writing Center is pretty neat because you'll have access to someone who will give you personalized feedback on papers or English work that you're working on. And so this support is available for anybody, and they'll meet you where you're at. So they offer support at many different levels, as well as they offer workshops too. And I'm going to go back to Tutoring Center because I want to make it clear that it's available for all subjects. You can go there for help with any course you're taking, and you can schedule one-on-one support in person as well. Professor office hours, I feel like these aren't used as often, but they are incredibly helpful. They help provide clarity to what the professor expectations are. They help you build a relationship also with your professors. Oftentimes, your professors will have access to even maybe like jobs and stuff that they can recommend their students that they know. And so just make sure to tap into that too. Um, Major specific programs. So a lot of community colleges and four-year universities now have hubs based on specific majors. And you have a point person that you can go to, ask for help. They can help provide some guidance, but also sometimes they have access to their own tutoring departments within that organization. So I'll give you an example. I took a couple classes at ARC way like several years ago. But what I learned is that different departments will offer tutoring sometimes at different times. So my example was, okay, I was going after work because I was working full time at the time. And so I would go to the tutoring center to get help, and they closed at about like 7 or 8, I believe. But then we're not open sometimes on the weekends. And so I found out that a different department had tutoring services available over the weekend in a completely different building. And a student told me, and we were just talking about how I was struggling with stats and it wasn't my favorite. And they're like, hey, did you know this department also offers tutoring over the weekend? And so I would find myself looking for opportunities to meet my schedule because some places were closed on certain days and times. And so since I was working full time, you have to get creative with where you find help, but make sure you vocalize that to your professors because they'll be able to kind of point you in different directions based on what your specific needs are. Um, and then there's online resources. What I love about online resources is that you can find maybe a different person to tell you in a different way to help you comprehend this certain challenging topic you're trying to learn, right? And so Khan Academy is a wonderful resource that has videos and shows you how to do problems. Also, YouTube is really great because they'll also offer some educational channels as well that can help you summarize maybe some larger topics. Keep in mind, this is not a full list of everything, but this is a great start, and you'll be able to find these at most campuses. Disability Services and Programs for Students, also known as DSPS. So students with an IEP or 504 plan have access to a special program on campus. You're going to have access to counselors as well. And their purpose is really to provide appropriate accommodations to help students access their curriculum. So they're going to do their best to make sure that they're providing certain accommodations. So some of those accommodations will include exam proctoring, a separate testing environment, adaptive technology, accessible course materials, maybe a sign language interpreter or counseling services. But something that I want to highlight as well is oftentimes they'll give you priority registration so that you're able to enroll in courses before everyone else. The other part of that that I want to make sure to highlight is that you have to self-identify as a student. And so there's an application that you would submit and fill out, and then you'll meet with a counselor. But make sure that if you can access your 504 plan or your IEP as you're graduating, make sure to send that to the campus. There's usually a website that you upload these documents to. You'll meet with the counselor, and then you'll get your accommodations. And they vary per campus. We can't guarantee anything on our end, but it's absolutely helpful if you do go through the process to see what's available for you. The other program I want to highlight for us all is EOPS. EOPS is at the community college level, and EOP is at the university level. And basically, this is a program for low-income, first-generation college students. And their sole mission is to make sure that they support students who meet this criteria. So they provide additional funds, additional counseling, also priority registration oftentimes comes with EOP. They even have like their own center where students can come and get resources like they'll have Scantrons and printing stations and laptops that you can use. And so you'll see this. You have to find the application for community college, but if you apply to CSU, then it'll automatically come up on your application. So if you qualify, do it. This is an incredible program as well. Next, we've got building your community. Y'all, there is something for everyone. There really is. And so I just want to highlight a few. So we've got veteran resources. Every campus will have an office. And so if you have anyone in your immediate family parent that is a veteran and you have access to special GI bills and that, there's an office that you can go to tap into some of those resources as well, that's dedicated to veterans. There's work and internship programs. So if you're like, oh, I found what I want to do, but I want to make sure that I start getting, building my experience, there are people on a college campus that will help you find these opportunities. The Dream Center, if you are a student that is undocumented, there is also a Dream Center that you'll have access to folks that specialize in being able to help students access their curriculum and college experience, but also they have access to immigration lawyers. And so make sure to tap into that resource. Transfer centers, if you want to transfer to a 4-year after community college, there is a whole office that is built for you and to get help with figuring out what your next step is after community college and what those requirements are. And then club and intramural sports. This is like, if you're feeling excited about joining a certain sport, but you don't want to do the NCAA or play at that competitive level, there are funsy sports that you can participate in, as well as clubs for literally everything and anything. And if you don't find what you want, you can create it yourself. So these are great ways to kind of build your community. And then I'm going to highlight just a couple programs. And I know I'm going over a ton of information, but my point, if you take anything away from these slides, is that there's something for everyone. And if you got a special need that you need some help with, there's something for you. You just got to make sure to talk to a counselor or a professor, and they'll be able to support you with navigating how to best support you and your needs. So the Puente Project is basically another program. Umoja is also very similar in the way that they operate. They provide community for students. Specifically, the Puente Project focuses more on Latinx students, and Umoja focuses on African ancestry. But they provide mentorship. These programs are open to all. They provide mentorship. So if you have an idea of what you want to do after college, they'll provide you with a mentor that mostly matches with that career path so that you have insight into making it into that specific career path. But speaking of community, this is also a great way to build that. Let's talk about basic needs. Y'all, I keep saying there's an office for that, but there is a space for this. If you find yourself if you're struggling to meet any of your basic needs, there is a food pantry on campus, but oftentimes they stock it with a variation of resources and support. So I did an ARC, American River College tour at one point, and when they were talking about their pantry, because they visit the pantry on their college tour, they had mentioned that they have diapers, they have gas cards, they have like food to go, or like just like basic food as well. But if you find yourself needing anything, I think visiting that pantry would be helpful and beneficial. Also, local food banks. Dialing 211, this is a resource you can tap into now, even into your adult life. If you ever find yourself needing any specific resource, 211 will connect you with a live person who will be able to review the local county that you live in to connect you with some resources. So I've had students in my career that have needed help with housing, or they've needed help with like food or different things. I even had one student call 211 to help them train their dog, and that was totally fine. To call 211, literally, they have access to everything. And they even have some special programs that you have to call them for, some housing stuff that you can call them for, and they can approve you on their end and provide you with some resources immediately. Also, therapy and counseling services you'll find on a college campus. If you didn't know, there's also a health clinic where you'll have access to a medical professional who can do basic assessments on you. So, yeah, just know that your fees will pay for this. So they're not going to expect anything, any cost in return because your fees, your college fees will pay for these services. All right. I want us to take a deep dive into what and how you find resources on a college campus. So I've briefly mentioned ARC. This is just locally in Sacramento, but every campus will have a list of resources on their website, just so that you're aware. So we've got Beavers Care. This is their pantry. And then we've got the Black Student Success Center, Business Center. Here you handle a lot of like your fees and permits. And if you want to request like a parking permit, they've got access to CalFresh, um, CalWorks, the tutoring program, the Career Center. If you're looking for some leadership and development, if you have a child, they have a daycare center on campus, counseling and transfer centers, crisis assessment support team. There's that DSPS office. So if we click on that, you'll see you'll have all the information you need in order to be able to access these additional supports and services. Rare. So let's go back here. And then EOPS, if your language, if English is your second language and you're still learning how to, if you need extra support with English language, they also have an second language center in which they have people who will specialize in supporting you with identifying courses and professors to better support your needs. EOPS, Next Up Care, financial aid, first year experience. This is really good for first time students, first time freshmen to tap into this. And then we'll keep going. This is our tutoring center. This is MESA. This is actually where I would go for my weekend tutoring. And then they've got a math learning center, Native American Resource Center. If you click on it, then you have access to so much more information. But my point is, there is something for everyone. We've got a Pride Center, prison and reentry education program, Puente Project, which we briefly talked about, Rising Scholars. And the other part of this, and I'll continue to scroll, is that if they have something and they're not, I have a student and they previously were adopted. And so we wanted to see if there was any specialized program to provide supports for the student. And so I just emailed the school and was like, do you have any programs for this? Because I wasn't seeing it on the list. And they in fact did. So it's a matter of just advocating for yourself and asking the questions. The worst case they can say is, oh, we don't. But in that situation, we sent an email, very basic effort, and we found out that they have this whole entire program that wasn't on their website. And so we were able to access it. And so just stay curious, advocate for yourself, and look so that you're aware of what they offer. So there's that. All right. I'm going to send you on another hunt. Um, which is your local college or a college that you are interested in going to? I want you to look at their student resources, and I'm going to have you copy one of those titles and put it in the chat. Okay. So, Mary, if you don't mind, if we pause the video again, recording. All right, y'all. Thanks so much for sharing. We were able to identify several resources, some of which we hadn't even talked about. So just a reminder, there is something for everybody. It's a matter of going in and looking and just being aware of what is available and staying curious. So what did you learn about, or did you learn about a new resource that you could benefit from specifically? I just want to hear a yes or a no. You can pop it in the chat. If you were already aware of all of those resources, good on you. But if you're able to take something away from today, then I'm excited for you because this is really only the beginning. And this is a very basic level list of resources that you'll have access to really at any community college or university that you decide to attend. But also keep in mind, many vocational schools, trade schools will also offer supports to support students. So thanks for participating and your willingness to kind of go on these scavenger hunts with me. Um, Next week, we're going to talk about managing money and how to do it well. So we hope to see you again next week. That'll be with Scott Clifton. And really, some questions that he wants you to ponder before you come are, what does a rich life look like to you? What makes you happy? What brings you fulfillment? And what relieves stress for you? I'm going to pop our exit ticket into our chat here.
And we could stop recording. Is that right, Miss Wendy? On that
Yeah.
note, yes.
Yep, we are
Come back
set.
next week, but for the rest of you, we'll wrap up in just a minute after I stop recording.